everyone, Pratima here, and Poco has just dropped two new mid-range phones for 2026. This is the Poco X8 Pro, the successor to last year's very popular Poco X7 Pro. And this year, they have also introduced the Poco X8 Pro Max. This one is a more premium, slightly more expensive version of the Poco X8 Pro. You could also think of it as the Poco F8 since Poco did not launch the Poco F8 this year. So technically, the X8 Pro Max is an upgraded version of last year's Poco F7. I have both of these phones with me right now, and while talking about the prices, I don't have the Indian pricing yet, but I do have the global prices. Globally, the Poco X8 Pro Max starts at around $429 for the 12 to 56GB variant, whereas the X8 Pro starts at $299 for the 8 to 56GB variant. So yeah, the prices have gone up a bit, but that's not just the case with Poco. Almost all brands have increased their prices lately. Anyway, I think this year the Poco X8 Pro Max is the one that really impressed me. But before that, let's talk a little about the regular Poco X8 Pro first. Here there are some good improvements compared to last year's X7 Pro. First of all, we get a really nice design this year. I have always criticized the design of the Poco X series, especially that yellow color. Honestly, I never thought it looked very clean or premium, but this year Poco has finally fixed that. This design looks much cleaner and more premium now. The Poco X8 Pro also has become slightly more compact, so it feels more comfortable to hold in the hand. We also get metal frames this year, which is always a welcome upgrade. Overall, I have to say, I really like the aesthetics this time. In terms of performance, there isn't a huge upgrade compared to the X7 Pro. We get the new Dimensity 8500 chip, but based on the benchmark tests that I ran, the improvement is not massive, around an 8 to 10% performance increase. The display, however, is really good. Like always with Poco phones, we get a 12-bit OLED panel with nice haptics, fast touch response, and pretty much all the display certification you can think of. The display quality looks really nice, and there is Dolby Vision support as well, which works great. For biometrics, there is still an optical fingerprint sensor here, not the ultrasonic one like we have on the X8 Pro Max. So this is one area that could have been better. The battery has also been bumped to 6500 mAh this time. Last year's global variant had around 6000 mAh, so this is a nice improvement as well. I think the Indian variant might even get a bigger battery, but even with the 6500 mAh unit, I got very good battery life during my usage. Charging is also super fast. It has increased from 90 watt to 100 watt this year. And since this is a performance-centric device, the gaming performance is extremely good this year. In my testing, it delivered very stable FPS, good 5% lows, and overall smooth gameplay. Thermals are also quite impressive here, considering this is a relatively compact phone. You also get LPDDR5X RAM and UFS 4.0 storage. So overall, the performance side of things is solid on this phone. But then again, when it comes to cameras, that's still the weak point here. You get a 50 megapixel main camera and an 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera. The cameras are decent for casual photos, but they're definitely not the main highlight of this phone. Portraits are particularly bad. Still, for around $300 or roughly like 30,000 Indian rupees, it delivers exactly what we expect from a Poco phone right now: strong performance and great value. That said, if you want to save some money, last year's Poco X7 Pro is still a great option. Right now on Flipkart, it's available for around 24,000 Indian rupees, which makes it a very good deal if performance is your main priority. But overall, this year, Poco has done a great job improving the design, the in-hand feel, and that's something I really like about this phone. Anyway, let's move on to the Poco X8 Pro Max because, like I said earlier, this is the one that impressed me the most this year. Recently, I switched from the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, and right now I'm using the Galaxy S26 Ultra as my daily driver. So I've been using a lot of flagship phones lately, especially with so many launches happening recently. But when I switched to the Poco X8 Pro Max, honestly, it felt like I was using a flagship phone. Almost everything about this phone gives you that flagship-like experience. First of all, the size, it's pretty big, just like most flagship phones. Compared to the regular X8 Pro, this one is noticeably larger. You get a big 6.83 inches display, and the display quality is really good. In fact, if I keep this phone side by side with the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, it's actually very hard to notice a difference in terms of display quality. The colors look extremely good, slightly warmer, which is exactly what I personally like. Even when I compared it with the cheaper X8 Pro, you can notice that the X8 Pro shows a slight magenta tone when viewed from the side, while the Pro Max has a much better viewing angle and more consistent colors. So Poco has definitely used a higher quality display here. Performance is also really strong. It is powered by the MediaTek Dimensity 9500S, where the S means that it's a slightly underclocked version of the flagship Dimensity 9500. So this is essentially MediaTek's second best chip right now. In benchmarks, it scores very good numbers and competes closely with something like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 that we see in phones like the OnePlus 15R and the iQOO 15R. The Snapdragon chip is slightly better in CPU performance, but when it comes to GPU performance, the Dimensity 9500S actually delivers very competitive results. And you can check the gaming scores. It's pretty great, slightly higher thermals than the cheaper X8 Pro, but it is also pushing better 5% lows. So that's not a big issue at all. Moving on, we also get an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor here, which is very fast. The speakers are loud and sound really good. And haptics are another thing that I really liked about this phone. So overall, this phone just feels extremely good to use. The battery is another big highlight here, as we get a massive 8500 mAh battery, which is really huge. In my usage, I was able to get around 11 to 12 hours of screen on time, which is even better than what I got from the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. As you can see, the design is also very clean and minimal, and there's this little fun touch here, RGB lights around the camera module. These lights can glow when you get notifications, it glows while charging, or even while gaming. You can also customize the color in the settings depending on which app sends the notification, which is a pretty cool feature. So overall, almost everything here feels A+. The only thing that does not feel A+ here is this camera system. If you look at some of the sample shots on the screen, you will see that it's definitely better than the Poco X8 Pro, but still, cameras are again not really the USP of this phone. Selfies are just average, the excessive contrast sometimes makes the photos look a bit dark, and the video performance is also fairly basic, just good enough for casual recording. You only get an 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera, so it does not capture a lot of detail. Portrait mode supports up to 2x zoom compared to 1.5x on the X8 Pro, but even then, the portrait results are nothing extraordinary. There's also no telephoto lens for those nice portraits or macros or zoom shots, and hence the subject focus is not the best here. I think Poco definitely needs to work on the skin tone optimization in both of these phones. To be honest, in this price range, you can definitely find better camera phones. For example, something like the Nothing Phone 4a Pro, which I recently started using, is clearly a better camera phone. But even so, overall, I have really enjoyed using the Poco X8 Pro Max, and honestly, this phone shows just how close modern mid-range phones have come to flagship phones. There are a lot of people who don't take many photos but still want that flagship level performance, great battery life, a fantastic display, and a smooth user experience. And for those people, you really don't need to spend flagship level money anymore. A phone like the Poco X8 Pro Max delivers most of that flagship experience at a much lower price, and I think this phone will compete really well against the OnePlus 15R and the iQOO 15R, which are currently dominating the performance-focused mid-range category. Anyway, what do you think of these two Poco phones? Do let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe because a lot of great content is coming soon. I am reviewing a lot of smartphones right now. I'm currently working on the review of the Nothing Phone 4a, and then I also have the Nothing Phone 4a Pro with me. The review for the 4a Pro might take a little more time because the cameras are not very optimized yet, and it needs one more upgrade like the Nothing Phone 4a. I'm also working on a big camera comparison with a lot of flagship phones. I'm also using the Galaxy S26. There is content coming on the iQOO 15R. Rohan is currently using that phone, and there's the Vivo V70 Elite as well, which I really like. So yeah, a lot of smartphone content is going live very soon. So I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.